There's one sentence that shows up in thousands of healthcare investigations every single year. You've written it, I've written it. It's in more corrective action plans than any other line in our field. And it goes like this: staff was re-educated. Sounds familiar? It sounds reasonable. And it feels like you did something. You gathered the team, you reviewed the policy, everybody signed the sheet, done, right? And here's the uncomfortable truth I want to sit down and talk with you about today. Most of the time, that is one of the weakest corrective action plans you can possibly write. I'm Genesee Gonzalez, and I spent more than 20 years in healthcare operations, patient safety, and risk management. And I've reviewed a lot of root cause analysis. And today, I'm going to show you why experienced leaders think completely differently about this and give you the exact language and tools to write corrective action plans that actually hold. Stay to the end because I've got a free one-page tool for you, 10 strong corrective actions every ASC leader should know. Let me show you why this matters. Picture the corrective action section of your last few event reports. I bet money that staff was re-educated is sitting right there in most of them. And on paper, it looks great. It sounds reasonable. It feels productive. It lets you close the file and tell your governing body you took action. So we re-educated the nurse, we re-educated the tech, we send a reminder email. Everybody initialed the in-service log, right? And we moved on. And then weeks later, sometimes months later, the exact same event happens again. Different staff member, same failure. Here's the line I want you to carry out of this video. If re-education actually fixed the problem, we would only ever have to do it once. The fact that we keep re-educating for the same event over and over is the system quietly telling us that the problem was never a knowledge problem in the first place. Let's talk about why we're reaching for it anyway. Now, let's be honest with each other about why we default to education. Because we're not doing it out of laziness, right? We're doing it because in a busy surgery center, it genuinely is the path of least resistance. And I want to recognize the pull because that's how you resist it. One, it's easy. There's no workflow to redesign, no capital requests, no committee to convince. You just write the sentence, right? Two, it's fast. You can hold the in-service tomorrow morning, close the event by Friday when you've got a stack of open events. That speed is seductive. Three, it's low resistance. Nobody in the building argues with more training. It doesn't threaten anybody's workflow. It doesn't step on any physician's toes. And so it sails through, right? And then four, this is the big one. It feels like action. It looks decisive on paper. And when you present it to your board or your governing body, it reads as, we found it, we fixed it. But here's what I need you to internalize. Easy, fast, and comfortable is not the same thing as effective. Re-education almost never touches the actual process that led the error through. And if the process is unchanged, the process will produce the same error again with your best nurse on your best day. So if re-education is the weak answer, then what's the strong one? It starts before you ever write a corrective action. It starts with the question you ask in the room. Most investigations, especially when everyone's tired and the pressure is on, quietly ask, who made the mistake? I understand the pull. It feels like accountability. But watch where the question takes you. It leads you to the name, the person. Focus on the person and re-educate the person. And when you're done, the process that let the error happen is sitting there completely unchanged, waiting for the next human being to walk into it. Experienced leaders ask a different question. What allowed the mistake to happen? Same event, Totally different path. Now you're looking at the process. You're hunting for barrier that was missing. You're asking to redesign the system so the next person, competent, well-meaning, having a normal day, physically can't repeat it. Here's the mindset shift, and it's the heart of this whole episode. We are not softer on accountability. We're just aiming it at the right target. We hold the system accountable, not just the person, because you can replace every person in that room and still get the same error if the system stays the same. A surgical specimen leaves the OR with the wrong patient's label on it. Now, this time, it gets caught downstream in the lab. No harm reaches the patient. A genuine good catch, right? But make no mistake, that is a near miss that could have ended with a patient getting a diagnosis or a treatment that belonged to someone else. So the investigation happens, and the corrective action that gets written is re-educate the circulating nurse on the specimen labeling policy. And everybody nods, and the event is closed. Now, walk the chain with me. Step one, weak corrective action. Staff re-educated, file close. Step two, notice what did not change. Same handoff, same busy room at the end of the day, same process where one tired person is the only thing standing between a right label and a wrong one. Step three, and it's predictable. About 4 months later, it happens again. Different nurse, a good nurse, same mislabeled specimen. The re-education wasn't wrong. It was just aimed at the person when the failure was in the process. Nobody added a barrier. So the barrier that was missing before is still missing. So if the person usually isn't the root cause, how do experienced leaders actually think about these events? They think in systems. And the clearest picture of that is a model you may have seen, the Swiss cheese model, from a safety scientist named James Reason. Picture your defenses as slices of Swiss cheese lined up in a row: your process, your people, your technology, your communication, your environment. And behind those, your policy and your training. Every one of those layers is supposed to catch an error, but every layer has holes in it. Nothing's perfect. On a normal day, the holes don't line up, right? So an error that gets past one layer gets caught by the next. An adverse event happens on that rare day when the holes in several layers line up all at once, and the hazard passes straight through like an arrow. Here's why this matters for your corrective action. When you write staff was re-educated, you are patching exactly one hole in exactly one slice, the people slice, and only for that one person who happened to be there. Every other hole is still wide open. Strong corrective actions don't patch a single hole. They add a whole new slice, or they shrink the holes across the entire system. So the next time the holes try to line up, something stops them. All right, this is the slide to screenshot. Let's make it concrete. What does weak look like and what does strong look like? On the weak side, and notice the common thread, every one of these relies on a human being remembering to do the right thing under pressure. Re-educate or retrain the staff. Send a reminder email, review and reissue the policy, and my personal least favorite, staff counsel to be more careful. Be more careful is not a plan. It's a wish. Now, the strong side, the common thread here is that they change the system so that remembering isn't required. you add an independent verification, a second set of eyes built into the step. Build a hard stop so the workflow literally can't advance until the safety step is done. Redesign the workflow itself, or adding a forcing function that makes the wrong action impossible. Automate the step and take the human variable out entirely, or standardize it with a checklist and then actually audit compliance, because a checklist nobody audits quietly becomes optional. This is called the hierarchy of effectiveness, and it's used all over patient safety. The higher you go towards forcing functions and automation, the less you depend on memory and vigilance, and the more durable your fix becomes. So aim as high up this list as your event, and your budget will let you. So how do you know in the moment whether you're about to write a weak action or a strong one? I'm going to give you the one test I run in my head every single time. Write it on the inside cover of your event binder. Here's the question. Could another competent employee make this same mistake tomorrow? Not a careless one, a competent, well-trained, well-meaning one on a normal day. If the answer is yes, and honestly, it usually is, then it was never really about the person you happen to be investigating. The system failed, and the system is what you fix. Re-educating one individual does nothing to protect you from the other 20 competent people walking in that same gap tomorrow. So once you've answered that, 3 follow-ups do the real work, right? What barrier was missing? What safeguard should have caught this and wasn't there? What in the process allowed it? Where did the workflow make the error easy or make it invisible until it was too late? And finally, what can we redesign so that the right action becomes the easy default automatic action? Answer those 3 honestly, and your corrective action almost writes itself, and it'll be a strong one. Let me hand you the framework. The same 5 steps I walk through for any serious event. Put this on one page in your wrist binder. Step 1, understand what happened. Get the objective facts and the full timeline first. No blame, no assumptions, no jumping to a cause, just what actually occurred in order, right? Then step 2, identify the system vulnerabilities. This is your Swiss cheese work. Find the barriers that were missing and the holes across every layer, not just that one person who was standing there. Step 3, implement sustainable process changes. And here's where you use that hierarchy. Reach as high as you can. Independent verification, a hard stop, a forcing function, something that doesn't depend on anyone remembering. Step 4, the step almost everyone skips. Measure effectiveness. Decide upfront how you'll know the fix actually worked, and then go audit it. Don't assume. A corrective action you never measure is a hope. It's not a control. And step 5, keep monitoring. Watch that metric over time, because a fix that works in a month, one can quietly erode by month 6. Notice what's not on the list as a step by itself. Educate the staff. Education supports these steps. It's almost never the whole solution. If you remember nothing else, remember these 3 things. Number 1, great leaders improve systems, not just people. When something goes wrong, fix the process that led the error through. Don't stop at the person who happened to be standing there. 2, education supports a solution. It rarely is the solution. There's nothing wrong with retraining. Just never let it be the only thing you do. Pair it with a real change to the workflow, or it will not hold. 3, the whole point of a corrective action is to reduce the chance of reoccurrence. So before you close any event, ask yourself, does this actually make it harder, ideally impossible for the same thing to happen again? If not, you're not done yet. Now, two things. First, I made you a free one-page tool, 10 strong corrective actions every ASC leader should know. It's in the description. Print it and put it in your binder. Second, subscribe because next week I'm giving you the 5 questions I ask before I'll approve any root cause analysis, the exact test that separates a real RCA from a rubber stamp. And drop this in the comments for me. What's the weakest corrective action you've ever written? I read them, and the best ones become future episodes. Lead with competence, protect your patients, elevate care. I'm Genesee Gonzalez. I'll see you in the next one.